Mm-hmm. Hey, Joyce. Oh, sorry. Hey, thanks. It's cold in here, that's why I'm wearing this sweater. But, excited, Joyce? Thanks. This sweater is like really old. Oh. Ooh, 4 people. Could you drop me a comment? Hi, Jennifer. So, what do you think I should start or should we wait? Um, Let me see if I can invite some more people. I don't know who is it. I'm friends, but mm, 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 mm. Okay, so since I'm doing a live read of my book, um, which um, this is the cover of it. Sadly, I don't have any copies at home right now because I sent them all out. And I hope you're enjoying them. Okay, let's start, and then maybe Um, so before you want to start, I want to tell you kind of about the book, about how it came about, because it's my first time here. So I started writing this book as well. Now it's kind of a tribute to my grandparents and their love story. So I started writing this when I was basically 12 years old, which uh, is kind of amazing. Uh, then I wanted to tell their story and how they fell in love, my grandparents fell in love, and it kind of fascinated me that they could have stayed together for 63 years. And I kind of wanted to show people that true love is possible. Hey, Tiffany. I haven't started reading yet, so I'm just telling people about the book. Um, you didn't miss anything. So, um, yeah. Um, so when I was writing the book, I I wanted to tell my grandparents' story, and I wanted to show people that true love really does exist in this world, and that um, and that people can find it. But unfortunately for me, I haven't found it yet. But there's always hope that I will, right? um, yes, I am having a great night, Tiffany. Thank you. This is really highlight of my day, kind of. Um, so, oh, um, it's not. Um, so that's about basically everything that I wanted to say about my book. That how it came about. Yeah. Um, I won't bore you with how I got it published, but anyway, so this is um, my kind of personal tribute to my family and my family history. So this is basically book one, and book two is coming out maybe hopefully next year. So um, I'll let you know when that happens. And I found something that I'd like to read to you today. Um, I'll be starting at the end of chapter one and going into chapter two. Let's see how far we get. Um, the years passed by. Both of the royal children grew in beauty and stature. Peace surrounded them. The summer of 1833, when Annie celebrated her 13th birthday, would be memorable for her and her family for many years to come. In that year, Annie's life would change forever. It began when Annie sat alone near the lake with her sketch pad. A large meadow of roses were laid out in front of her. A lake, a lake sparkled from the sun's rays. There was a gazebo with lines all around it, not far from where Amy sat. The trees were full of fruit behind her. Amy reached for an apple on occasion when she had been drawing too long. Hmm, Let me see. Uh, oh, yay! Tiffany, you're gonna like this. Yeah. And hope I'm not hope I'm not giving you any spoilers here. Um, yeah. Mm, Amy reached for an apple on occasion when she had been drawing too long. It was a very quiet place compared to the hectic life of the castle where everything was constantly moving. It was much nicer to be outside than be confined in her room. Here, Amy could sit quietly and enjoy the fresh air while she drew her masterpiece. Of course, she rarely showed these drawings to anyone. Under the talented fingers of the princess, a figure began to emerge. The eyes of that were drawn on paper seemed so realistic that Amy felt as though they were staring directly back at her. The detail was so precise and dimensional that it gave the appearance of the figure ready to walk off the page to her. In, in the silence of the bright sun, a breeze filled the beautiful blonde hair from her lifted the blonde hair from her. Sorry. See, I get nervous when I. One second. Hey Elizabeth. Hi Isadora. um, um, in the silence of the bright sun, a breeze lifted the beautiful blonde hair from her shoulders. Footsteps echoed down the path. Amy raised her head and peered down the path. Was it possible for her drawing to come alive? Who is there? Please come out, Amy called out. The sound of heavy footsteps came could be heard through the bushes. They um, they drew closer to where Amy sat on the bench. A silhouette of a person appeared. Slowly, the figure walked towards her. As she turned to see who it was, she froze. And that is the end of chapter 1. Let me see about chapter 2. Um, Let me see if I have any comments here. Love you too, Elizabeth. That's so sweet. um, let's see. Chapter 2. The first thing that haunted Amy were the blue eyes that penetrated her entire being. The captivating gaze had an almost magical quality about them which mesmerized her. Her heartbeat quickened, air was trapped inside her lungs as she held her breath in anticipation for what was the question she did not know the answer to. She shook her head and pulled herself out of the trance, like state she had and not realized she had been in. When she looked into those large pools of blue, Amy felt her heart heartbeat in her ears. The entire universe seemed to disappear, leaving them alone in all its vastness. Then Amy saw a silver crown nestled on top of his ebony hair. She seemed to wake up from the spell they were both under as she realized he was a prince. This realization came with many questions Amy had no answers to. What kingdom is he from? Confusion set in as to who the young man was and where he had come from. Uh, His face glowed in the sunshine. She could she could tell he was also confused. Pale red lips seemed to fit his skin tone to perfection, with broad shoulders that made his height look larger. He seemed he seemed slightly taller than her. His arms showed that he had been training in sword fighting or running to keep himself fit. The mysterious prince wore a light blue suit with a white rose pinned to his pocket. A crisp white shirt was visible under the suit jacket. He cle- he his his cleanly polished shoes reflected the sun in their black surface. Who are you? Amy backed away from the being, uh, strange being, slowly, unsure of whether or not he was dangerous. You have nothing to fear, the young man reassured. However, the princess was not yet convinced. You did not answer my question. Who are you? I will tell you once you stop moving away from me. You have nothing to fear, as I have said. I mean you no harm. However, somehow, as if by instinct, mm, Amy felt drawn to his serene expression. It seemed that his presence was harmless, as he himself looked a little uncertain of whether he should even be here. As she looked a little, as she uh, as she observed his demeanor, it was evident that he was not there to hurt her. Seeing that she stopped retreating, the young man gave Amy a surprised smile and answered her earlier question. I am Darian, the Prince of the Earth Kingdom. I live across the lake from you. I did not think the people of your kingdom were so beautiful. Darian gave a slight bow. um, I'm Amy. The color of her skin flushed bright pink and matched the color of her dress. Her blonde hair swayed freely in the wind. Meeting a prince was rare for Amy. All of her friends were princesses. Worried that her daughter would would meet a prince because she wanted to arrange Amy's marriage when the time came. Okay, I skipped. I'm sorry. Um, mm, um, Worried that her daughter would meet a prince one day, Amy's overly protective mother did everything she could to prevent that from happening. Queen Alona mm, was apprehensive that her daughter would meet a prince because she wanted to arrange Amy's marriage when time came. Amy was curious about the forbidden fruit her mother protected her from. She wanted to find a way to explore the outside world despite her mother's overbearing nature. However, she wondered what the prince would see in her. Would she be viewed only as beautiful, or would he see that there was much more to her than just beauty? Or maybe, just maybe, he might show her something she could have she couldn't have never seen in her own on her own. Darian had observed much more than Amy had realized. Her beauty and fragility, fragility, sorry, um, and were quite visible to him. Yet it was her artistic nature, which he concluded upon based on a quick glance of the princess's sketchpad, that captured his interest. The gentle, kind the gentle, kind demeanor which she conveyed made Darren instinctively feel protect feel protectiveness of her. Um, Amy was so charmed by Darian that she was at a loss of words. Her initial aloofness mm, melted melted as his gentlemanly nature revealed itself. He kissed her hand and cut a rose from a rose bush which was the exact color of her dress, and with another bow gave her the rose. She smiled shyly. I want to show you something, he said. Once again she hesitated. What? I wish to show you something. Where are you going to take me? Come with me. I promise you will not regret it. Let me see if I have any comments other than the ones that um oh um I Nicole. Oh Rose, hey. Sorry, thanks Nicole. I'll uh, I'll send you I'll send you a link when I get off. Rose is reading it right now. So hey Rose. I'm into I'm into chapter 2 right now. So I don't know how far you got. Um let's see. Let me continue. Chapter 2 is these chapters are fairly short. So I think we can get through chapter 2. Um Amy's palms began to sweat. She suddenly felt numb, and moving became increasingly hard to do. As nervousness uh, set into the pit of her stomach, nausea crept up her throat. Darian's serene expression matched his tone and made Amy feel relaxed as she followed him. Her mind kept forming questions and making room for doubt as they began to walk. What am I doing? I just met mm, I just met Darren and now I'm following him. What if he's evil? All after all, that was what my mother had implied with her warnings. Despite her thoughts, Amy followed him down the path he led her down. Mm. They came to a stop. A meadow full of beautiful flowers surrounded Amy and Darian. Mm. Oh, chapter 6. Yay! You're getting into a really fun part. I'm not gonna tell you, but it gets fun from chapter 6. Um, um, let's um, hi. Um, the flowers gleamed due to the rays of the sun. A beautiful meadow with all varieties of flowers looked like a painting uh, unfolded in front of them. There seemed to be every kind of flower, even the design in which the flowers grew in the shape of a star. The sun shone down on them as they walked to a wine hoarding that hung from a tree in the distance. He pushed aside some leaves to reveal. Oh, sorry. My, um, let me do this first again. Um, um, mm. He pushed aside a wine potting that hung from a tree in the distance. Uh, he pushed aside some leaves to reveal a river that mm, that went on as far as the eye could see. The river seemed to sparkle in the daylight. It was so clear that she could see the underwater world beneath the water's surface. Different kinds of fish swam right below the surface. Little crabs waddled across the water's floor. She could see something glittering below the water, probably a kind of castle, Amy thought. It was an interesting thought that there were people swimming below the water like the sea life she saw. There were beautiful trees surrounding the river bank that held that had a green leaf vines dripping into the water. Ripples spread across the water from the vines. Across the river, a high mountain sat with a rainbow shimmering at the top. The colors from the rainbow brought the whole area to alive with even more color. All over the trees, birds of every color and shape created beautiful patterns of flight. Bees flew around the flowers and collected pollen for, for honey. A little rabbit scurried around in the grass. Flowers bloomed all around them. Only the song of birds um, disturbed the air around them. Several little grasshoppers jumped from leaf to leaf, and the humming sound that they made could be heard from a small distance. It's beautiful, Amy explained. A smile, a smile crept on Darian's face as he looked at her. She looked at him curiously. Why did you bring me to this place, Darian? I wanted to show you something I enjoy. This is my favorite place. It is truly stunning. His chest felt light, and everything around him looked extraordinarily beautiful. Darren breathlessly led Amy to the secluded area. His pulse began to race like the wind above them. It was the most beautiful spot in the entire forest, with a waterfall and flowers around it. It felt like the world was was different and new at the same time. Darren didn't know why, but he wanted to share every one of his secrets and deepest desires with Amy. Darren looked at Amy with a dreamy look on his face. There was so much that he wanted to tell her. He knew he had just met her, but there was something about Amy that made him feel like he wouldn't mind having her with him all the time. Clearing his throat, Darren spoke. You know, Amy, as I walked alongside you, um, I realized that I feel comfortable with you by my side. I feel like there is a possibility that we may spend our lives together. He smiled at her. Amy was taken aback by his statement. Her mouth fell open. Really? How did you come up with that? And she stared at him and paused for a moment before she spoke again. How old are you, Darren? I'm 14, he said proudly. He thrust he thrust out his chest with a gleam in his eyes. He took a deep, satisfying breath as he watched to see Amy's reaction. Oh, I'm 13, Amy explained happily. Darren's smile brightened. That's wonderful, Amy. We are a perfect match. Mm, Darren could not be happier than he was right now, right then. Mm. Now I'm sure that we will spend the rest of our lives together. Amy laughed and nodded in agreement. Yes, Darren, we will be great friends forever. The prince's brows furrowed, and um, then he shook his head as he realized there was a misunderstanding. No, no, that's not what I meant, Amy. I meant that we were meant to be soulmates. I know this because you make me feel like I have known you for a long time. Mm, mhm. Thanks, Joyce. I'm actually liking it. Um, um, mhm. Amy's eyes widened. She was at a loss for words by his declaration. She had thought he was speaking merely in terms of friendship, but what he stated was something she had never even thought about before in her life. Was he kidding? Based on the serious look on Darren's face, Amy knew that his words were not hollow. He meant them. Soulmates? She explained. Darren, we are just children. Yes, I like talking to you, but how can you be sure now that we we are soulmates? I mean, if it is because of my drawing, then uh, then I had no idea I was drawing you. I thought I was just drawing someone, but now that I look at my drawing closer, I can see that it was you. But still, I think it is still too early uh, to say that we are soulmates. Yes, Amy. Mm, would you like that? Or would it scare you if we were soulmates? and would be together forever. Darian asked, hmm, hmm, husband. Um, I do not know. I just met you, and yet I trusted you enough to come here with you. The idea of soulmates is hard to grasp. I understand your concern, yet marriages between royals occur mm, all the time without the bride and groom meeting. You have at least had the chance to meet me. If you get if you get to know me better, would that possibly change your opinion? Amy contemplated his words before responding. I see how kind you are to me. I see how you listen to what I'm saying, and uh, and you and I get along pretty well right now. So I would enjoy having such conversations with you. I would enjoy getting to know you as I talk with you more. This meeting feels like it has changed my life already. I would look forward to knowing more about who you are. Amy smiled at Darian. She truly enjoyed talking to him, and she smiled more as they talked. Darian made her feel safe and that she mattered to him. Even in such a short period of time, Amy could tell that Darian was respectful of her and her thoughts on the subject. Darian smiled broadly. That's great. Darian was overjoyed by what Amy had said. He wanted to know more about Amy as well. Mm, um, yeah, thanks, Jennifer. Um, um, they hoped that this time spent talking about their hopes and dreams um, would bring them closer. Amy hummed a happy tune and looked at Darian with her green-gray eyes that reflected something new. It was hard to come up with something to say. Amy began to lick her lips repeatedly as she listened to Darian talk. The attraction between the two of them was blossoming into something beautiful. Time, time stopped for them as they talked. The sun mm, dropped lower in the sky as it went unnoticed by the young lovers. As Amy and Darian talked, Darian listened to her and did not interrupt her. At times, Darian would ask questions but he was never rude to her, and his questions were always thoughtful. Making eye contact with her when she talked, Darren made Amy feel like he was interested in what she had to say. I'm having a great time with you, Amy professed. Uh, Um, Me too, he replied. The, the castle had a vast landscape that adjoined with the garden. From a few feet away, Amy heard her name called out. Oh no! She looked over at Derry. I'm so sorry. It's getting late and I must leave. Can we talk another time? Of course. He watched as she turned quickly on her heels and headed back to the castle. He waited until she was out of sight to make his exit as well. Darian's favorite spot was not far from Amy's garden because the magical portal that took Darian there was close by. Um, mm. The magical portals were a faster way to travel than horseback, and they connected kingdoms together. Alliances between kingdoms made the portals stronger because the rulers would allow their neighbors a smoother, faster, and safer passage. He never went farther than the river to observe the Moon Kingdom's castle in all its glory. But on this day, Darian felt a bit adventurous and decided to venture out farther than the river, where the teleportation portal had left him. He did not regret the decision one bit. And his heart beat faster now as she ran towards the castle gates. Her fast-moving steps echoed in the silence. The quicker she moved, the louder the sound became. Her feet hit the soft earth and lifted dust behind her as she ran for the shelter of her bench. Her mind raced with a million thoughts at once, making it hard for her to even breathe. If only she could reach her sketchpad in time to avoid a lecture from her mother. But for that, she had to move faster. Now, adrenaline pumped through her veins. Amy's hands uh, pumped at her sides, and her hair flew free behind her. She knew one thing for sure: she could not let her mother see that the bench she had been sitting on was empty. Finally, Amy sat Amy safely reached the shelter of the bench where she had abandoned her drawing. She picked up her pencil as she took a deep breath. Her muscles felt weak from running. Queen Alona appeared right as Amy had sat on the bench and picked up the sketchpad. Where were you, Amy? You should come inside. It looks like it might rain soon. Um, for the first time in her life, Amy lied to her mother. I was watering the rose bushes when I realized I hadn't finished my drawing. Amy felt her hands shake. Maybe always telling her parents the truth had made her feel self-conscious. Amy had never uttered a single lie to her parents as it was not who she was at all. Now that she had a secret, it was hard for her to tell the truth. She feared that the truth might infuriate her parents more than the lies she was forced to fabricate. But how could she lie to her parents when they taught her to be respectful and honest? She waited for her mother to catch her in her web of lies. Amy's heart felt heavy in her chest as she waited. Somewhere inside, she hoped that her lie would not be uncovered. Despite it all, her heart raced, and the fabric of her and her heart raced, and the fabric of her pink dress was wrinkled as Amy clenched the fold of the dress in the fists of her sweaty hands. Amy was not brave enough to make eye contact with her mother. "You can finish your drawing inside," said Queen Eleanor. Mm. All, mm, mm. A frown crept on her face as she talked to Amy. She watched her daughter fiddle with the skirt of her pink dress while she sat on the bench and made a mental note of the sudden strange behavior. Queen Alona asked her daughter why she could not see her mm, from the castle window. Amy's eyebrows were knit together and a frown adorned her lips. When her mother asked why Amy had not finished her drawing after so much time had passed, Amy avoided eye contact with her mother as she was not ready to tell her mother the truth. Amy just wished that her mother would stop asking her such difficult questions. Amy's face seemed to change color from red to pale white every 20 seconds. The pencil that she used to create her drawing was now shaking in her hand. Queen Alona wanted to know what was going on. "Are you all right?" she asked. Queen Alona watched Amy's face very closely when she addressed her for the second time. Mm. She noticed the unnatural brightness in her eyes today. They appeared to shine, and the green in her eyes seemed to sparkle in the light. Her breath seemed to be more labored than usual. Amy had a hard time looking at her mother, and her lack of eye contact was quite obvious to the Queen. I I'm fine. Everything's great." Turning away to hide any sign of her uh, sign on her face that would reveal her lie, Amy hoped to distract her mother. With her mind racing and producing accusations for the lies, Amy's heart began to beat faster, and her hands felt clammy when she rubbed them against her dress. Her words would barely form, and her voice shook with every word she spoke. "If you say it is, Then it must be the said the queen. Run along to your room. It surprised Amy that she had that she was happy to be sent to her room. Mm, mm. I guess that means you girls like it. My bad interpretation of my own book. Oh my god. I cannot do audio. I'm telling you, I can't. I just can't do audio. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Ooh, yay! Road! I'm liking the way you read. That's like super fast. Um, let's see. Um, should I keep reading it? Um, mm, what do you think? Let's chapter. I got another 3, 4. Woo! I like the emojis flying. Thanks, Elizabeth. Okay, and I'll keep reading. Um, um, at least now she could contemplate about her encounter with Darian peacefully and privately. Now she did not have to feel guilty for thinking about him because she was alone. It was such a relief to walk to the castle alone and walk to the only place where she felt safe. There was no one to ridicule her for her actions or words in her room. Um, she could be alone with her true thoughts and not bother with a fake smile when she was not happy. Her room gave her the freedom to let her emotions surface. Maybe being sent to her room was not always a bad thing. Slowly she stood up, and on the same wobbly legs that had carried her all the way from the river back to the bench, she walked to her room. As she walked past her mother, uh, as she walked past her mother, she could not help thinking that her mother had possibly noticed her distractedness and shaky voice. Walking to the castle and up to the stairs of the third floor took a lot of effort. Finally, she reached her bedroom door and she could relax in the comfort of her own room. She walked through her personal living room and entered her bedroom. At last, she could be alone. Amy threw herself on the white lace canopied bed and let out a sigh of content, picturing Daring tall and handsome. In her mind, she could feel the enchantment growing. She imagined his melodic voice again as he pronounced her name. She touched the rose he had given her, touching each petal, while she dreamed of meeting him again. Though she was only 13 and he 14, Amy knew he was her dream come true. Because of magic, it was possible to teleport, but the person had to be a little older than the age of 13. Amy's parents had emphasized the dangers of using magic before she became of age. Mm, Um, it was only when Amy reached the age of 16 that she uh, would be able to use that power. She did not want to disobey her father's rules. Um, Walking into her father's rooms meant that she would bring attention to herself, even though Amy was not planning to steal anything and her intentions were purely good. She did not want her parents to know about Darian. Amy was searching for the portal code that she would need to put in to teleport to the Earth Kingdom, as well as the key to the main computer in the control room. Um, she she wanted to keep this budding friendship away from her parents and savor it a little longer. She could not risk her parents knowing about why she was thinking about using magic. Hmm. Abandoning Abandoning the thought of teleporting to see Darian again, Amy sat down at her writing desk to study her lesson. She intended to write a full page on the history of the portal. However, all she did was write Darian's name in her notebook and decorate it with different flower drawings. She smiled at the drawing and put her pencil down. She knew she would add to this drawing later, but right now Amy wanted to do something different to distract herself from thoughts of him. If she did, it would only increase her desire to see him again. Um, standing, oh, um, hmm. Standing up from her writing desk, Amy walked to the grand library with the intention to lose herself in the words of a book. Amy entered the spacious room and looked around for a book she wanted to read. Finally, having picked out a book, Amy took it from the shelf and sat in one of the soft chairs that were in the room. Amy opened the book and started to read. However, when she began to read the story on the page, she kept seeing the place that Darian had taken her to. His name was written between the lines, and his words were printed all over the page. Um, mm, Amy quickly realized that focusing on something as solitary as reading was ineffective. She walked out into the garden for some air, hoping that seeing the flowers would give her some peace. But all the flowers looked the same to her, pink roses, just like the one that she had in her room encompassed, eh, encompassed the castle. Amy, uh, um, okay, you know what? I'm gonna get something to drink because I'm feeling a little dry. I'll be right back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm I'm back. Okay. Um, I'm back. Oh, okay. Um, Amy walked among the beautiful landscape and smiled to herself for seeing a um for seeing a pink rose was yet another reminder of Darian. A week had passed since Amy had met Darian for the first time. With each passing day, her thoughts were consumed by him. Nothing else seemed to seemed to matter. She felt something warm and pleasant deep in her heart that could not name, uh, but could not name the sensation. Amy closed her eyes, and a smile of content formed on her face as she thought of Darian and pictured him in her mind repeatedly. The thought of him made Amy want to sing and dance. Heat radiated throughout Amy's chest. She spread her hands out in front of her as if she wanted to hug the entire universe. Everything was finally right in her world. Amy wanted to relive the day she had with Darren all over again. She giggled mm, and laughed as she danced in circles around the room. At the same time, she felt breathless. Her, her eyes seemed to sparkle and dance as she thought of Darien. She could she could have described every little detail of the magical place where Darien had taken her, walking among the things in her room made her see the small details that she had not noticed before, like how the light from the sun played on the mirror. Amy clasped her hands to her chest and thought to herself, this must be a dream. Um, it was hard for her to imagine that that her meeting Darian was real. She would never have felt so lightweight and warm inside if this was not real. Was it even possible to feel such great elation? It felt as though before meeting him, everything she had known was a part of some kind of story. How was it possible that she had never felt this a feeling before? It was like a tale from one of her fairy tale books. Amy was thrilled by the fact that someone that he that he was the one who had opened her eyes and showed her a new light to things she had never noticed before. Amy felt that this was the beginning of a new chapter in her long life. Mm. Thanks, Elizabeth. I'm sorry I had to take a drink. Eh, I've been reading like forever, or it feels like it. Um, of course, I can keep reading, but you know. Um, yeah. Queen Alona headed to her daughter's bedroom. She stood there wondering if she should announce her entrance. She watched Amy closely. She waited for Amy to look up, but she didn't. Little did the queen know that her daughter was fantasizing about a prince. Her mother's entrance into the room went unnoticed by Amy. When her mother spoke, Amy was surprised to discover that she was no longer alone in her bedroom. May may I come in? Queen Alona stood in the doorway looking worried. Of course, mother. Amy was afraid that what she was feeling would show on her face if she was not careful, and she turned to see her mother standing in her room. The look on the Queen's face was one that Amy did not expect. Amy did not understand what caused her mother to look so disturbed. Did something happen? And that, ladies and gents, is the end of chapter 2. Um, Now, question is, should I read chapter 3? Or should I read from somewhere else in the book? Trying to find something that I could. Okay. You like it? I'm so glad, Joyce. Um, chapter. Let's see. Um. Oh. Okay. How about I'll read you uh, from chapter 5. I'm gonna. Okay, Rose. Good night, Rose. I don't know. I can stay here all night. Well, not all night, but that's a joke. I'm not gonna stay here all night. But um, let's see. Um, Good night, Rose. You're welcome, Joyce. Good night. Uh, okay, so you know what I'll do? I'll leave chapter 5 for the next time if I get invited because I see people are going to bed, so I don't want to read and you guys are gonna miss it. So, um, what did you think of Amy and Darian? Oh yeah, they're sweet, Jennifer. They get even sweeter in the rest of the book. This is just a little, let's say, beginning of the story, but this isn't the end of the story either. I mean, book one isn't the end, so let's say that. What did you think of Amy's mother? I was actually doing voices um, for for my characters, or at least I was trying to. Um, I'm glad you liked it. I was a little nervous though, Jennifer. I'll tell you the truth. I don't do lives very much, but I think I like it. I mean, I haven't read this book um, since it got published, and I was kind of scared to actually read it after the editing and after it got published. So this is kind of like my second time reading it through. So yeah, I'm figuring out as you go, right? So there's there's a little conversation here with um, Amy and her mother, and I wanted to read it to you, but I can I can read it to you next time because I want everybody to be here for that. It's not a spoiler, but it's an interesting insight uh, into something, uh, into something that's going on behind uh, in back in in Amy's mother's uh, history. So yeah, I'll tell you, the Queen of the Moon Kingdom is quite a character. She's not a bad character, but um, really, you think so? That would be really good. I would love to come back. I should talk to I should talk to Joanna about coming back because I really do have fun. I did have fun with this reading. I mean, I've read this book through when I was editing it, and I haven't read it since. So this is kind of my first time, second time, because I was doing another live in Fears Between the Sheets of Paper with Rose and Rebecca, and they seem to like it. So, by the way, the book is now on Amazon and on Eden Books. If you know, it's romance only website. So only romance authors publish on Eden Books. And my book turned 1 year this year. I published it on actually on my grandfather's birthday, October 15th, because it was his birthday, and I wanted to commemorate that. So this year it turned 1 year old. Um, so um, do you have any like questions or anything you want to ask me about the book or about um, like what I'm working on or anything? Oh, Oh yeah, this is for Forbidden Love is only the beginning for Indian Darian. So um, there's book one to uh, five or six books. So yeah, I have planned about six books in the Power of Love series. I'm working on the next book on which is book three, which is part two of Melody and Augustine's story, which is um quick spoiler. Um, Amy and Darian's older daughter, and then it kind of follows like the series kind of follows Amy and Darian's family through like their kids, their grandkids, their like mm, certain things like that, and it goes into them being parents and being grandparents. You know, it travels through time. Basically, like I wanna show um, the course of their lives and how they live, like you know. So there will be more books. Um, I'm working on right now. I'm working on actually two things. Book three, which is part two of Melody's story, and right now I can't say anything because it's still top secret, which is um, pretty exciting for me because I don't like keeping secrets, and it's kind of tough for me to keep a secret. Um, but I'm almost finished with the top secret project that I'm working on. So hopefully, in 2020, I'll have either two books or three books releasing, depending on how I finish writing, because I write slow. So yeah, um, I'm planning two, but there probably will be three. I don't know, because I'm still figuring that out. I'm still writing, and I write slow, so you're gonna have to wait. But book two is definitely coming out. It's done. It just needs to be edited, and I already have the cover for it. So book two has a cover, and I'm working on getting it published. So hopefully that, and then the secret project, um, which I'll tell you more about when I finish with it, because I want to make sure that I'm done with it before it's synced. But if you read book one, I'm pretty sure that you're gonna like the secret project I'm working on. I'm telling you, it is majorly like super hot. You're gonna like it. I I'm pretty sure you're gonna like it. So yeah. Um. Let's see. Hmm. Hmm. And I'm also working on um well, some of the other stuff I want to work on is still like in the planning stage, so I can't really. I don't know when that's gonna start. So hopefully soon. And, uh, well, okay. So no more questions then, right? Mm, 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 um, mm, mm, mm. Um, okay. So, I guess I'll get off here and maybe I can come back later and I'll see about coming back. Um, thank you for being with me and thank you for listening to my little um, reading of Amy and Darian. I'm telling you, their story gets better. Um, oh, you're welcome, Jennifer. It was great being here. I love being here. It's one of the highlights of my week. So I was looking forward to it. I'm glad I got to do it. I'll be glad if I can do it again, though. Um, okay, so I guess that's it for me tonight. I'll see you all hopefully. Um, if not, next week on Saturday, then I'll probably see you after the new year. So I want to wish everybody um, happy holidays and very happy, very happy New Year. Um, and I'll see you in the new year. I hope I can see you in the new year. I'll, I'll be glad if I can come back. Um, yeah, okay. Let me get off. Bye, everybody.